And this is probably on paper for how things have gone this stage, probably the most lopsided match. This is the 9th place Aqualix. They are fighting for their playoff lives right now.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, Aqualix just isn't in a really good spot in general. I think they are currently sitting as the 5th place team in the overall standings for the entire year. They currently have 9 points left that they can accrue this stage in order to qualify for those playoffs, and they need 7 of them. That means if today Aqualix loses in regulation, they're out of the playoff picture. They can't catch up to Aerial Arise, who currently sit, I believe, 8 points ahead of them. Or 7 points ahead of them, so they're not looking that pretty. There's a roster that won in stage 2, and this stage they haven't shown up at all, and kind of leaves us with a question. What's going on with this team?
That's unfortunate. I didn't even realize it was that dire. Connor, on the other side, this is a team that is looking very, very good this stage.
Yeah, Luminosity, the only falter they had was that one game against Reality TV, but at this point, who hasn't lost to Reality TV? It's kind of something you can strike from your record and say that, hey, we're still doing pretty well, and every team that's been placed in front of us, we're going to come out and we're going to dominate them. Silent, he's one of the top players in the entire league. He's a 1.35 rating, but more importantly, he's 11-2 on entry. That is an incredibly impressive stat, especially with a majority of his engagements being on the attacking side. Definitely a lot easier to get defensive entries as opposed to actually getting your boots on the ground, getting in on the action for the attacking side. And overall, Silent has definitely had a chip on his shoulder after a couple of his teammates got picked up to the league over him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, Tanner, if you're Aqualix, last week they had a devastating loss, 7-2 to unemployment. If you want to not just hold on to your roster spot, but make a good argument that you should be in that roster spot, you can't be taking a loss like that.
Hey, I just gotta say, Aqualix is a good team. Okay? They just need to work on a couple of things.
I agree. But come on.
Yeah, they just need to, work on their rotations, their crosshair placement, their retakes, their operator pool, their map bans. I mean, honestly, right now, this roster has the potential. Like, we've seen them at the top of their game in stage 2, and something is dramatically changed when they picked up, or when they lost Gasher and they ended up picking up Penguin, where they're just not performing at the standard that they're historically able to. Maybe it's the meta shift, maybe it's something, but right now their attacks are falling flat. They're getting picked like crazy on the defensive half. They're not trading their picks in general, and they're not able to capitalize on the entry engagements that they're getting. So if they're going to have any success versus Luminosity today, they need to stop trying like these ego difficult play styles in the game. Keep it simple, play your trades, play as a team, and then they have a chance against LG. They are shooters. Everyone on this team can shoot. They just need to become a team, and I think they'll be able to compete against LG.
It's like I always tell people, if I just worked on my skating, shooting, deking, hand-eye coordination, decision making, and a few other things, I could have gone to the NHL. I'm just saying, if I just worked on
same with me. If it weren't for my bum knee, I'd be in the league.
I gotta say it, but you know what? There's a couple people who might just get to the league, Connor, and it's Luminosity. The way that they are playing as of late, because completely opposite. They're coming off of a 7-1 victory over One Shot.
Yeah, and that's a very, very dominant win. And it also accompanies some very dominant stats that we can see on the side of Luminosity. They've gotten the entry engagement in 70% of their defensive rounds. And guess what percentage of rounds that they've won of those? If you guessed 92, you would be... I think you're a little bit of a wizard to have the most random...
I had 92. 92 is in my
head.
But
a 92, that's a weird guess, but that's the exact number. 92% of those rounds going into the favor of Luminosity if they get that opening engagement. They're really good on their defensive side of getting that pick and falling back to the right area or pressing the issue. And for the side of Aqualix, they've been struggling on their attacking side, especially just getting a pick in general or trying to just get any map control. And you're going to have a bunch of Luminosity players running all over the place, going absolutely crazy, who are seemingly amazing at getting these picks. It's almost like a kryptonite moment. And speaking of kryptonite, you can go and see the map pool of a team like Luminosity that lines up really well against Aqualix. Kind of the only ways that Luminosity won't be going to a Villa or a Border, which I think are their two strongest maps, are if they don't want to, but I don't really see that happening.
Well, once again, Connor, I got to thank you. Your segues today are on point.
I put them as the second point on purpose.
It's like you thought it through.
I always think of you.
So what are we looking at, Tanner?
I mean, going into the map bans, both of these teams have got a very similar map pool. I'm expecting something along the lines. Well, Villa's gone. So going into this map at Border, wow, that is one of the maps I didn't expect. Both of these teams last time they went to Border, both got trounced by the exact same team of Reality TV. It was a 7-2 victory for Reality TV over the side of Aqualix, and it was a 7-3 victory for the side of Reality TV over Luminosity. So both of these teams have got a negative winning record on this map. The fact that both of them felt comfortable to go here, maybe they just feel like they're the better of the two teams. But in terms of play style, this benefits both teams. It benefits the players because it's an equalizer map. It benefits the team with the shooters that show up on any given day. This is a very aggressive kind of map. You have to be ready to take gunfights, and both of these players have got excellent shooters on both sides. So I don't know. This is actually a pretty good map choice. I would say Aqualix kind of stole one here by going to this map.
Well, I don't know. Your comment made me think like they both got trounced here last time on Border
They did.
by Reality TV, and I was like, I don't know if that's so much about Border and more about Reality TV getting trounced on this map. But Connor, what are your thoughts? Like Tanner thinks that this is not a win for Aqualix, but maybe a step in the right direction.
Well, with this map pick, you would generally say, hey, this is a Luminosity map because they've kind of shown a historic affinity towards this map. They've had some good results in previous time. But this is one of those kind of interesting situations for Aqualix where you can say that they're like a wild animal. Right now, they're backed all the way in the corner. The only way they can go is forward. Their lives are on the line, and they're going to a perceived strongest map of a team. I'm going to put the trust in the supporting staff of Aqualix. Call me crazy, but this is kind of the last chance that we have to predict them if the game even matters, or else they're just automatically going to be relegated. I'm switching my vote. I think we're going to come out. Maybe a little bit of VOD review action could have been seen on the side of Aqualix. Luminosity, sure, their playstyle is still unpredictable and can go away from that prep work, but I think in a do or die situation, you got to give some respect towards the veteran leadership of Penguin as well as some other players on Aqualix.
Are you saying Tanner's going to go 0-2 on the day? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, he should just trust his gut when he does the prep work. He does all the VOD review, he does all the analysis, and he goes, you know what? I'm cheering for LG. And then already today we saw him switch his answer, and he voted for unemployment. This is going to be 0-2. Go for it, Connor. Go for it.
Well, there's only one thing left to do. We got to find out the actual results because the predictions, they don't mean anything. We're going to throw it back to the casters as we go to Border to find out who's going to take it.
Well, John, like Tanner highlighted, both these teams have played this map once before, and both of them lost to the same team. The only difference being that LG got three rounds. Aqualix only got 2. So advantage firmly, that's the wrong side, firmly in LG's corner.
And also in general, just a little bit of a fun facts for you. Luminosity have never won against Reality TV under any iteration of them, under any stage, under any map. They have always lost. So that's kind of an outlier stat. And why they didn't do so well on one of their preferred maps of Border when Reality TV brought them here not too long ago. And for Aqualix, at probably we'd say their strongest team lineup for their players, they still have lost to LG. Albeit close, they still have lost. So really just on paper, this does not look to be a good showing here for Aqualix unless they really put in the bookwork on their counter stratting. I know they had attempted that against the Favelas and they had lost 7-3 on Skyscraper, but I feel like even for a team that likes to go to Skyscraper, that map can be a lot more challenging in comparison to Border. So maybe there are some opportunities here that could grant Aqualix this win. But if you're looking at it from just a statistical point, Luminosity, they definitely could secure this win quite substantially, maybe even as dominantly as we saw in our first best of one today, Harrison, but hopefully not.
And what's cool too is that despite, both teams with a loss on this map, like you said, historically not bad, and historically they do not ban this map. Both these teams only banned this map twice, I think, last stage. LG have not banned it yet this stage. LG have banned it once so far this stage. AQ, no bans, I believe. Already, though, the operator bans, rather interesting. Nook, very normal. Flores and Castle. So we have all the hard breachers up on Border. Flores is gone. So if I guess Luminosity plan to play real into the utility and shield meta. That's going to help them. The castle ban, Aqualix love their castle, especially because Penguin loves his castle as an IGL. And Luminosity, conversely, love their pulse. So AQ are going to target ban that. So no FBI defenders today.
I am a little shocked that we don't have an Azami, but I guess if you want to think about it more from a standpoint of Azami is going to be in a lot of those early confrontations, if you can kill her, win that opening gunfight, that is less utility on the pool in comparison to a castle who's going to have not only a bulletproof camera for extra information, but you already have those 4 castle barricades from the beginning of the round. You have to build up your Kiba barriers over time. And again, if you're able to kill that Azami, it's going to be a lot less bang for your buck. Maybe that's the ideology there for Luminosity. So not a bad idea. Interested to see why we have the timeout so early. Maybe some sort of technical issue. That would make sense, hence why it is a technical timeout.
Yeah, I think,
but I guess for the bans, they do make some sense. It would just have to probably be a lot of grenades to deal with those Kibas, and probably some emphasis on like an Ashe and a Zofia as well.
Yeah, I think there was some player was having an issue with their ping. So trying to sort that out. Castle No Pulse is interesting, and we are going to be taking a rehost. But John, before you take that rehost, like you said, Azami is up. So is Mira. So is Valkyrie. Valkyrie up on border. Very interesting because similarly to Villa, very destructible floors. So Valkyrie is going to be interesting. Azami is going to be interesting. Mira. We all love Mira in small. We all love that on an armory defense. But unfortunately, rambling time is over. We can't get into the game just yet. I believe we are rehosting the lobby. So we will go to a quick break.
Yeah.
I believe. So don't go anywhere. Stay right here. Because as soon as the lobby is back up, we'll be right back. Woo! We're back. All right, take it away, John.
Yeah, we had a bit of an apparition going on, so we had to cut the cams away. But now we're back. We managed to get our crosses back in place to bring out the ghouls from our household. So starting out here,
You want
armory
with
lockers.
an exorcism reference?
If you want to, yeah, sure. If you want to look at it like that. I mean, I do have my room slightly themed for the spooky season, only slightly because it's only my boat shelf. If you look around the rest of my room, it is just Same as always. I put in some effort, but not probably as much as I could have. It's whatever. I'm hoping Aqualix today have put in some effort in an attempt to counter-strat Luminosity here on border, because we've talked about the importance of Aqualix. Despite them being 9th in this stage, I think overall they're still 5th or 6th, so there is potential for them to make it to that top 4 position for playoffs. So these next couple of games they have this week and the week after are really going to matter for them. So if they get a win today against Luminosity, all 3 points, potential 7-5 win, that's going to be huge.
Well, like Tanner highlighted, there are 9 points left remaining, right? Because there's 4 play days left, and Aqualix have their break day on the final day. They need 7 of those 9 points, John.
Yes.
So if they don't get any points today, then they're out. They will not make playoffs. Very important game. We did flash the scoreboard as well. We saw a couple players actually had over 100 ping for a second there. So hopefully that goes down and it doesn't become an issue. Otherwise, we might need to see another rehost. Just warning you all now, we may need to see it. We'll see what happens. LG starting off with what appears to be a south side clear. This is an armory defense, and Aqualix have extended all the way to CCTV cache. So, of course, LG are going to have to take this position before they waltz on into the site.
Well, the smoke grenade tossed to make sure no one could walk right into Penguin's position. Seems like he'll just be trying to hold on to break room as long as he can, as he does have backup by Psychosis and a few other players closer towards the eastern side of the map. So a good hold so far by Aqualix, but eventually Luminosity, once they're able to burn out through those toxic smokes, for example, Penguin is probably going to have to either play there to die, or he will attempt to fall back in some meaningful way. Luminosity now trying to set up even further to put more of an emphasis on that part of the map, having people work their way up east stairs, and Silent catches Hat off guard. He's just out in the open asking to be shot, and now it's going to allow a lot more breathing room here for Luminosity to not only deal with Penguin, but also Psychosis, who we mentioned earlier, to still be set up in CCTV with those Kiva barriers.
And Penguin knows it, so he's going to immediately get out of there. But Afer next in line, I think he was playing inside of Archives. He'll die to Silent. Another for Silent. As Penguin's the next to die. Psychosis gets picked off. And Silent with the pistol. 4 kills for the Zoe. The analyst desk highlighted him, and for very good reason. And off his back, LG take round 1.
Now plus 10 on the entry department. So pretty good stat line so far for Silent, and the rest of Luminosity as a whole, as sometimes entries can be the major factor in winning a round altogether. Really good job by Luminosity to completely isolate, I'd say, that entire round. I mean, we saw Silent again walking up east stairs, getting that first opening kill. We saw him then begin to just waltz his way down through 90 hallway, then peeking himself a little bit closer towards offices, catching a couple players rotating off guard. It really just seemed like the timing there for Aqualix was not up to par, and they were completely thrown off guard by that clear for Luminosity to begin with. Now for Aqualix, they want to try and attempt to go through bathroom and tellers with still a good emphasis on that roam presence. I would say maybe even the option to retake, depending on how long Hat can stay alive and where he's positioned on the round, but also a plethora of trap ops as well, which can grant great information and maybe give you a bit of an advantage, not only with that info, but also HP, especially if one of those traps happen to be a cap can that catches someone's ankles in a bad spot.
Plus, he's trying to slow down LG.
Yep.
As much as they can. LG tend to be a very swift team, for better or for worse. So these traps, definitely looking to lean towards that for worse category. I am a little shocked, though, that there's a Capcan on the board and it's not Penguin playing him. That's one of his favorite operators, and it's Beastly instead. And, well, he's dead with 3 Capcan traps in his pocket.
Oh. Now that part I didn't catch. That sucks even more. I was like, oh,
I think he may actually have been like mid placement on an exterior door and just got smoked through the barricade.
near the jail / detention area, maybe. That could have been
Either
it.
there or a main door.
Was looking away to write down some notes. Couldn't quite catch it, but Silent, speaking of catching, he catches yet another free 1-for-1. Psychosis may trade, but still Silent does have armory control. He's expecting a bit of a response zone near Archives, but Afer just wide swings with the bullet hose and is able to take down his sister in that position. Hat now still taking that place over by Armory to make sure Luminosity cannot get map control for free. Afer once again here on the assist and kicks Just waiting for Aqualix once again to wide swing to potentially bring back that man advantage, but Afer now good for 2, puts his team in a 3 versus 1 as he's on the drop shot department. Had as well, still lingering above, gets the final kill, and Aqualix respond quite quickly with a round win of their own.
There we go. That's what we need to see from Aqualix. None of these classical, complex Penguin holds like we saw last round, because something that relies on is everyone's got to be looking the right way at the right time. You know, we saw it from Hat. Hat dies, Penguin has to fall off, Psychosis is left on an island, blah, 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 blah. We need to see LG's energy thrown straight back in their face, and that round is how you do it. Afer with a big 3K. Also, as you had mentioned, I didn't know Afer and Silent were sisters. Also didn't know Silent was a woman.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, because when you pick an operator, you are like quite literally molded into their new identity. We just say the name for keepsake. So now they were sisters, but not anymore. There is no Ella on the board. Afer is now back to their own, I suppose, in a way. But like you mentioned, Harrison, the, I guess, rivalry to aggression is going to have to be a pretty major concept here, especially with the map of Border being relatively small floor-wise. It's still a pretty dense map as a whole. But especially when you're, defending sites like, server, for example, or bathroom, that verticality is a really big aspect. So making sure that you just don't give map control up for free is going to be a major thing for Aqualix as a whole. That's why they're bringing such a very fluid composition. You still have that Oryx, probably the highest mobility operator in the game. You have really good info ops like Beastly as well, so you can have your own information to figure out what kind of play you can work in a given moment. And still having the Azami, which again, in general, just a solid op, can waste a lot of time, promote better angles for the defense to hold against any ongoing attackers. The list goes on. Luminosity have to be a little more patient, just to make sure they're not really getting themselves in the thick of it for these extensions up above.
Fluid, John.
Yeah.
But Aqualix don't have a smoke. Get it? Get it? Because gas is a fluid. Anyway, Penguin. Actually, isn't Azami's thing like it's a gas first?
It's like,
and then
it's like some weird inflatable. I don't even know how to
and then,
describe
like,
it.
the gas hardens or something. But either way,
Yes.
the guy with the weird gas. That sounds. Well, anyway, gets the first pick on the splash. Major player for LG now done, but Silent still a massive threat. Look at the trade on Hatton chasing back this roam towards Armory and Archives. One player in Archives, one dropping the hatch. Oh, I believe that was Psychosis. Gets away just in time to eat a nade to the face. Beastly, though, answers with a C4, and we are kept in step. Even man count across the board.
And still for Aqualix, playing rather close to the chest, although one defender has fallen back off of that roam. There's still one in Armory and the other one over by Archives. Afer going for an aggressive swing, wins that first fight, but is caught on the vault up near the back table in Archives. And finally, that remnants of the roam game has officially retreated to that first floor, but there is still customs control. I don't think technically anyone was on the site for a brief moment, but Penguin having a very safe rotation. Not true to a full matter of fact, but if Luminosity get good info in this final minute, they could maybe collapse into a 2-for-1 engagement and potentially force Beastly to retake, unless he moves back around to better assist Penguin, perhaps.
No C4 either from Beastly, as he already used it, so this sledge is going to have free reign of that ceiling, and you can see Penguin already feeling the pressure, feeling the effect, having to be flushed off. He still has 2 Kivas in pocket, though, that he can use for entry denial. Don't know how effective that's going to be against a sledge, though. Luminosity got to be counting their lucky stars that they still have him up. 30 seconds left. Penguin will retreat back into the bomb site, peering up the hatch. Doesn't spot anyone just yet. Goes to the other hatch, sending up the Kiva barriers. There's someone just right there. Rice nearly spots him. They'll hot drop the right into the arms of the Azami. Penguins ready and waiting. 3 kills for the IGL, and another round for Aqualix.
And trying to play directly underneath both attackers to make sure it is incredibly challenging for them to find a kill if they go for a hot drop like that. If you didn't know, when you actually put pressure on a Kiba in that way when dropping to the hatch, it will completely break on your body weight. But again, when you're looking straight down off of a drop down through a hatch, it's very hard to shoot correctly, especially when a teammate is quite literally inches away from you. Good play by Penguin, I suppose, but altogether, LG, I am a little shocked they didn't want to try to potentially maybe work their way over through the opposing site and try to get that plant down, rather going in through server perhaps, as with that vertical presence, they could have potentially watched the rotate. They would just have to worry about maybe Beastly trying to retake from main lobby, but even then, you could still watch up above if timed correctly. But a good attempt by Luminosity, nonetheless, to try to isolate in a 2 versus 1 position, but it just took way too long for them to set that up, granting Aqualix a better position in the site, despite that vertical pressure that was being put down.
Yeah, brilliant round from Aqualix. So 2-1, we actually have an Aqualix lead. Something I didn't expect. John, I wonder if we're all going to be eating our words, and Connor's going to be laughing.
I'm not
at
a
the bank.
bark enjoyer. I'm sorry, Harrison.
Yeah.
Yeah, wood chips were not my favorite snack
Actually,
growing
I
up as a child.
technically do eat wood. I guess I eat bamboo.
You could look at it like that, maybe.
Right? Bamboo's call it menma. It's in ramen a lot. Very good. Very tender. Surprisingly. Also, I looked it up. A zombie's gadget is a gas that instantly solidifies. So I guess they did have a fluid defense.
Penguin
fluid
definitely
that-
was able to flow
What is
like
it?
water.
It's called deposition. So I guess the gas, the fluid deposits into a solid. I don't know if that's the right
You know,
phrasing.
I think someone, warned me about you getting all scientific during a broadcast.
Don't
I
even,
never thought,
don't even get
never
me on
thought I'd have to worry
sublimation
about
and why I should be subliming and not sublimating. But anyway, we got this weird maze labyrinthian extension. That's the better word for it. From Penguin. That again kind of relies on everyone looking the right way at the right time. LG found a hole last time. Looking like they might find a hole here if this nade lands.
Oh,
And,
perfectly
yep.
timed by Eddie. Hat walking right over the hatch, just gets blown up sky high. Aqualix, though, besides that one loss of a player by offices, they are still doing a good job of holding down in through CCTV. Penguin potentially getting ready to fall back if he wants to. I would assume not through the hatch. That could be definitely no man's land, but through the rotate is a much safer option, as Psychosis will still wield his way over by CCTV. But for Luminosity, it seems like once again they want to walk their way in through office first and foremost and try to work another 1-for-1, but thankfully Penguin is there at just the right time to make sure Splash can only get 1 kill.
Still a risky move from Afer, and a Psychosis goes down. LG are looking to even the round count. Penguin tries to make his way back in the hallway to play off the second shield, but Kix is there for the crossfire. Beastly's now alone in a 1 versus 4. He's got the Alda. Maybe 20 bullets a kill will be enough. But no, he'll drop down the hatch, make a lot of noise as that Maestro. As he comes back up metal, there's someone already holding the angle. We'll get silent prone, but the refrag is just around the shield. Should be an easy fight for Kix as Rice starts to get that plant down. All that Nomad has to do is delay. Beastly will be forced off the angle to hit the reload. And in that time, Rice confirms the plant. Now a 1 versus 3 post-plant for Beastly as the situation just keeps getting worse. Low on ammo as well. He's only got 120 bullets. I know he's starving for ammunition, but as he walks up the stairs, Kix finishes him off. And we are all tied up.
And both of those armory round wins for Luminosity started off in the exact same manner. You had Hat dying on the opening entry, whether it be by Silent or Eddie this time on round number 4, granting a little more control of offices, and that allows Luminosity to look away from CCTV and just begin to dogpile onto this area between Fountain and offices, for example, to get actual site control by the side of archives. That forces a rotate of potentially both defenders from CCTV and break room back towards the site. And half the time, you still have someone watching over near 90. That's a cutoff angle to deal with as well, granting Luminosity just a lot more angles to deal with. And because they already have more players, worst case scenario, if they have to trade, they're still going to win that round out, just statistically speaking, because they have that man advantage from a clean opening kill onto your main line of defense over by offices. If we saw potentially a little bit more precautions to take care of anyone pushing down in through that first floor, that could have been a potential easier hold by Aqualix, as again, because they lost that main line of defense, it just gave Luminosity more opportunities of attack, and it also allowed them to completely forget about these power positions across the top floor that they could just ignore now.
And that's something I admire and also kind of look down on when it comes to Penguin strats, right? Penguin strats tend to be very complex, really hard to pick apart, but if one domino falls, then the rest kind of falls with it. Like I said, everyone's got to be looking at the right time at the right place. If one person dies, then, and especially if it's someone like Hat in a pivotal position, and everyone's got to fall back. Everything gets messed up. But speaking of messing things up, Afer on the Ella. Last time we played this operator, got an incredibly important 3K to keep Aqualix in the game. We'll see if Luminosity fall to the same tricks again.
It was more or less Aqualix making that good heads-up play to try to retake map control to make sure Luminosity were not going to have that well of a tempo being set after you had Kix winning that opening engagement against Beastly up above. Seems like for Kix, at least he's holding the same position near that back balcony, but no one else is here to engage with him just yet. Psychosis, a long angle through the metal detector inside of Customs, is going to kill one, working their way in through jail. He even has backup. I believe that is, actually not quite sure, it's Penguin playing over by the back lobby as well. So there is a lot of control over that one portion on the map for the defensive side, pardon, but for Luminosity, they're still able to get control of Armory Room, and they're still having to worry about that presence by Archives, but Silent already holding a pixel angle could work a refrag, but more of those shots are going to hit the metal rebar and the door frame than the actual player trying to engage him.
Things have slowed down for LG. Aqualix's game plan successful so far as a nade goes in and it blows Psychosis sky high. Line call to follow to give some extra space to LG is Silent. Still on the hunt for the Oryx upstairs. Hat has no interest in falling back. Afer spotted by Splash outside, but still looking to take the fight. Eventually gets killed by Eddie holding a crossfire, comes in for the assist, and now the big man on this defense last time is down. Silent is still up for LG as well. He has been the final boss of this roster. Now Beastly starting to fall back. No C4. This time he's got impacts. And Hat is now dead. Melee hole nearly gets the kill. Beastly, turn around, buddy. There's shots coming at you. Silent picks off Penguin, and that was just the low HP Valkyrie. Shot in the back to hell, and they know exactly where he is. He's stuck in bathroom behind the half wall. 30 whole seconds for LG to play with and make sure this round doesn't spiral out of control. Case is in their control since picked up from Rice's dead body. And here's the swing in just a second. Splash edging his way around the corner, but he'll fall off for now, allowing his teammate to take the fight. And Silent will, of course, win it. LG take the lead back 3-2.
And although things started a bit on the rocky side, Luminosity took their time to reset on the round, and I believe there was info gathered that Psychosis had nothing to assist him besides that one deployable shield in terms of utility. So a decently timed grenade mixed in with a lion scan were able to guarantee that refrag, while the rest of LG were still working on that top floor control. And again, with those lion scanners, it was a little more difficult for Aqualix to try and rework some of that top floor control. They weren't as explosive as they were in comparison to the first time we saw that bottom floor in play, bathroom being. So Aqualix just weren't able to replicate their success that we saw closer towards the beginning part of that first half. And now they'll opt to try and reattempt bathroom this time around for round number 6 with, I'd say, a fairly similar lineup. I think the only major difference is now Beastly is on the Frost, for example, which another shield to play around perhaps, and maybe if there's some bad information that could grant them some sort of kill at any given moment, or at least a DBNO, but besides that, nothing much has really changed here for the Aqualix composition.
Yeah, Afer on the L, I still like. Penguin on that Azami. Luminosity, I wonder why they're taking the IQ. I guess that there's the danger of the Valkyrie, like we saw last round from Beastly, and that's enough for them to want to bring it. Because Beastly is no longer playing the Valkyrie, but of course LG can't really know that unless they drone him out. So IQ still in play. Will be a little bit useless, but still Splash. Very good gun, no matter what. No matter what he's on. I mean, he's 1-3 right now, but typically, a very good gun for his team. Also, John, there is another change. Penguin was not, in fact, on Azami last round. He was Legion. So we'll see if he does better with those Kiva barriers at his side. It looks like Afer just got droned out, and he will get away from the pre-fire just in time, should it come.
That is a good point. I'm a little shocked that Aqualix have not been bringing out the Azami religiously, as it has been giving them a good bit of leeway on certain rounds, but I guess I'll see how well it will perform here for their final defensive round, unless we end up going to overtime, which at the very least is something that Aqualix will probably need. That singular point and then 2 regulation wins could be the full 7 to make it to playoffs, so any bit helps here for Aqualix moving forward in the rest of their matchup. Silent, once again, is inside of Armory. A little worse for wear in terms of HP, but at least he's got that map control, and currently no one is playing on that half of the top floor. Now that it's been droned out, Luminosity, they might just get a little bit faster here on this top floor clear.
And remember, Aqualix falling back rather early on. Not the same recipe for success that we saw in their previous win of this site. Hat almost exposes himself to Rice, but the ace, unfortunately, not able to connect enough shots. Afer's backed himself into the corner of sight. Eddie can't quite see him, and of course, they don't have info there. Eddie almost looks like he wants to drop right in, but instead he'll expose the player through the floor, but Penguin fights back and gets the first pick for his team.
Well, I guess the idea for Aqualix is just to force Luminosity to make that final move and maybe get themselves a little too exposed, and so far that's working out quite well for them. It's a 5-on-3 for Aqualix. Despite giving up so much of the map, things have worked out relatively well without a hitch, but Splash shooting through that singular window leading into Tellers has granted him 1 and now 2 kills, and Rice has dropped into sight. He could plant Harrison.
There's nothing to stop this.
What?
No one else is there. Penguin and Afer were the only people even remotely on site. Penguin still kind of in workshop, and Afer gave up his life trying to get a surprise play on the window player that didn't work out. Now it's a post plant. All 3 attackers set up with crossfires, one on the window, one in main lobby. In fact, the one on the window is upside down repel, but they don't even need the crossfires. Rice, the planter, shuts down all 3 remaining members, and Luminosity get creamed on the site execute.
And I was going to mention for once LG and their adaptability on specific plays like that. I thought it looked good. They had the 5-on-3. Penguin did a good job of shutting down a lot of that verticality up above, but then eventually the rotate came down on the first floor, and once again, Luminosity's info game, realizing once they found that 3-on-3 that they had total site control, instantly Rice drops down the hatch and starts forcing a post-plant position, and everyone is across the map on the opposite side of the first floor, and like you mentioned, they have to retake into a crossfire. Someone's out in bottom courtyard, and the other player is outside of the map, while the other one has natural cover behind either the bathroom stalls or the half wall with an AK-12. I mean, you really cannot put yourself in a better position during that post-plant round. Luminosity, because of that quick read and change up on their pacing, put themselves in an advantage going into the second half, but sometimes this map can be rather attacker favored, so maybe if Aquas can be very aggressive on their attacks, that could work out, as it seems like they're throwing everything at their opponents, bringing out a potential blitz pick in their first attacking round, as I don't think Penguin's going to be last second re-picking off of that operator.
Oh, both Blitz and Osa. So possible smoke double shield rush coming in. Could fall victim to a cap can, though. They did spot him on the drone, so hopefully Aqualix are a bit careful. Again, we have a similar extension that we saw from Aqualix going on for LG, only it's not quite all the way in CCTV. Kind of stops at around East Stairs and the hallway outside office. Penguin looking like his main target is the top East player. No real additional coverage for him, so, I mean, this guy's isolated. This could be the perfect target for a blitz push.
That's if they have info, though. Seems like they're taking a very long time to set up. They want to perfect that potential opening kill. That might just give enough time for LG to either fall back or double down on this extension, though. You begin to slowly see Luminosity get a little bit closer towards that East Stairs position.
Wow.
And because of this slow clear, Eddie's able to find himself an opening kill. And here comes the ace up Aqualix's sleeves. They spot out the blitz, and now if they need to fall back, they can, because they already won the first gunfight.
And not only the first gunfight, John, the Hibana already dead. No, the default cam. Oh, Psychosis goes a little bit farther in. He's dead to a C4. Penguin now have to check all his angles. He spots the alibi, gets the kill. Silent dead, but Hat traded out by Rice. There's another man trying to cover, but Rice can't get away. Downed, I believe, by Afer. Finished off by Penguin. Another kill for the Blitz. So in the end, definitely not as bad as it could have been, but not quite as good either with that opening kill from, or the opening death from Beastly.
Just having your back completely turned to the blitz, probably one of the worst things you could probably do. Although, to be fair, for Silent, I believe he was in the range to be fully blind, so he didn't really have as many options.
I think
as
Rice was I think was just out of ammo with the SMG-11.
Rice had, yeah, and also he had to worry about the single wall that was opened up. All of the walling next to him was soft, so a very risky spot. I could definitely see that the adrenaline's pumping in him, that he wants to keep the man advantage and doesn't want to put himself in a 3v3, although that decision-making did eventually have the exact same outcome. But still, 3 versus 3, 40 seconds to go. How impactful can this blitz really be now with such little time? I guess he'll just be on an island trying to plant, and Luminosity now having to be forced on a retake potentially.
Oh, the angle from Psychosis doesn't work out, but it doesn't work for Splash either. Here's the blitz. Keegan! A triple kill! Wow! That might be the most effective blitz we've ever seen in Challenger League. Played to perfection.
And it was again off the fact that no one could cover the drop into sight. Both Luminosity and Aqualix now acknowledging when the site is up for grabs and when they have to make the final call to have that play go into full effect. At the very beginning, though, Luminosity, they did an incredible job of countering that. I wouldn't call it a rush because it took a very long time for Aqualix to set that up, but I guess just a pseudo like execute onto one specific part of the map with the blitz being a spearhead. It was Eddie to still get that first opening gunfight as a win, but both times Rice and then Silent were caught on a fallback, and that just allowed free real estate for Penguin to find 2 separate kills and equalize things completely. And once again, like we had both mentioned now, complete opening into the bomb site of Bathroom. Penguin wasted no time dropping down, utilizing that natural cover to stick the, the plant on that diffuser. And then Luminosity are forced to play a retake with a blitz in the middle of the bomb site while people are still just wreaking havoc up above with that verticality. Great adaptability, finally now by Aqualix on their attacking half.
Yep.
Let's hope they can keep that up without the emphasis on the blitz, and now a new flash operator of the Ying.
Yeah, that impromptu droning followed by the quick decision-making from Penguin and the rest of his team, really on point. Also got to hand it up to Psychosis. Although he didn't get the kill on the Capcan, he delayed the Capcan long enough for the blitz to get that plant down. Psychosis whiffs on that and loses that fight, then Penguin's the next shot. So huge ups to Psychosis. You know, Penguin started the round, but Psychosis was really the man that allowed the plant to be completed and really swing things into Aqualix's hands. So now, like you mentioned, no more blitz, but a Ying on the board for Hat. The only thing I'm concerned about is Hat hasn't had the best survivability on this team so far. Not just in this game, but across the stage in general. So hopefully he's not going to find himself in a bad position.
He has been on a couple of those opening deaths. Let's hope this is not one of the major rounds here, especially with no pulse. It could potentially be a little bit easier to get that defuse down if they want to go in through an armory attack. It will not be an opening death for Hat, but instead Psychosis, your flank watch. Still a major loss of life here for the defensive side. And now Penguin falls. Beastly finally charges in. The Candelas come flying out, causing so much chaos in Archives, but it doesn't matter because they don't have the diffuser in that part of the bomb site. Afer collects one, swiftly traded by Rice, he's good for 2, leaving just Beastly as only now your planter enters the bomb site, and they still have to worry about the complete exposure they're in. Charging onceward into Rice, a triple kill for the alibi, and Luminosity wastes no time bouncing back on their defense.
I don't even know how the hell that round played out. Everything happened so quick. It seemed like they tried to go for a quick buck execute and all just got simply shut down on the Archive side of things. Gotta hand it to Rice. Triple kill, just holding down Archives, looking into Armory as well. Afer looked like he had a play. I thought that round was going to be immediately turned over by Afer, but they put a stop to him. Rice, big 3K, 8-4 now, a 2.0 KD. Aqualix just couldn't get in the building. Well, they got in the building. They couldn't manage a strong enough foothold to keep the ball rolling in the site because of LG's phenomenal trade game. So we work our way back down to Bathroom, and the blitz will rear his head once again.
And again, the major problem is if Luminosity acknowledge that blitz is in play, they could definitely adapt to it pretty quickly. Again, the early round didn't look bad for them because Eddie ended up killing out Beastly off the bat. That's your hard breacher gone. It definitely made things a little more linear for Aqualix as a whole. But still, it was really good work by Penguin to still isolate the defense and forcing them to either go for a gunfight that probably isn't going to go their way as they'll get blinded, or they fall back and leave themselves exposed to blitz if they end up un-ADSing. So the early round, it has to be cleaned up here for Aqualix, as I could assume now Luminosity, they're definitely prepared for some sort of shenanigans involving that German operator once again.
I can also forgive Beasley for dying first as the hard breach on this site in particular, with the way that Luminosity have it set up, especially with the hatch being open. Ibana's not the most important operator in the world. You don't need hard breach on this site. But really just this site in particular. Every other site, you kind of need it. C4 being preset. Not preset, but pre-ripped by Kicks. It'll be sent out, but Hat is already out of the building. So wasted C4 as the attack continues to stack up around Eddie. And Eddie continues to not really have a lot of support. Smoke goes out on the rotate. That'll allow Penguin in, but he's getting shot in from below. He's going to completely ignore Eddie, run up on this shield, but ADS's. Doesn't have the blind, doesn't have any support. Gives away his life for free, and the blitz that was oh so impactful. The win condition for Aqualix, their previous attack, is the opening death.
I mean, I like the idea of making space, but just flat out charging in without any assistance definitely seems to be a major gamble on something that was your make or break the last time you attacked this bomb site. And Luminosity, they still have plenty of options to delay Aqualix. Only now are they beginning to work themselves on the verticality, and there might be an option for a potential flank if no one's properly watching metal stairs. This 4-on-4, although it does look even on paper, like I mentioned, there are still a lot of good opportunities for Luminosity just to shut out Aqualix completely unless this vertical can really sing by the hand of Hat.
Another C4 has been expended. I believe the last one? I'm not quite sure. It still says there's like one in the overlay. Oh, that might be in Rice's pocket because he died so early on. So yeah, I believe no more C4s, but Silent's still in play, getting a second kill on a Psychosis. You don't have your Blitz. You don't have your Osa either. Two really big execute operators. Afer does get the equalizer onto Eddie. Had another one from above as Silent is just out to lunch. And Hat's got the angle above Workshop Hatch to keep Splash in place. This could give an opportunity to Aqualix to drop the hatch, but Kix is right there, peering through the wall, daring them to drop, which they eventually will, but not through the hatch. Outside, setting up on that window. Similar play to Afer, but it works out for Kix. Beastly's dead. 12 seconds remaining. They've got to go pick up Case and get this plant down. They've got to find out where Kix is playing. They get the kill, but where's Splash? Still in Workshop. He's got one. All he's got to do is find the second. 1 second left, and Afer stuck on the rotate, doesn't know which way to go. LG take the round.
And for a brief moment, I had thought Aqualix could save that round. For a good second, nobody was watching the bathroom drop. Yet for Aqualix, they had no idea about that. They thought the vertical was sufficient enough to obscure a rotate, and they tried to go down in through the teller's window, which even if someone's looking up through either two of the hatches, it's only going to take them a couple of seconds to readjust and just look down the teller's window. And Aqualix just getting taught the hard way, the exposure of that one portion, even when no one is truly on the bomb site besides just one player. I think it was Eddie to find that last couple of kills here and there. Luminosity now on match point, and Aqualix, I suppose, is trying to get desperate once again, just trying to hit their heads on top of the same brick wall, bringing out the Ying once again. I'm really shocked that LG have decided not to bring a lot of heavy util or even bring out a Warden to deal with it. But I mean, out of the 3 times we have seen either a Ying or Blitz in play, it has only been 1 round win for Aqualix, and that was, I'd say, probably by the skin of their teeth.
There was also Splash was capped and Kix was Valkyrie.
Okay.
And something else that's really confusing is why rotate the case to the window? Because the only way they know that bathroom is clear, 100%. No one's in bathroom.
Someone's watching vert. They're watching the rotate.
And they're watching the rotate. The only way a guy is going to be able to stop that drop through the wall that Kix was looking through is if no one's on the window. They have to be straight up standing in front of that wall, like face in it. And if you just put someone on that window, you completely deny that angle. Just rotate someone down, have Beastly stay on the hatch, flush kicks off the wall, drop and plant.
And it's not
I
like
don't know.
Beastly was dead. He had the case.
Yeah,
So it wasn't
he was the one that
miscommunication
went out
as to
the
who had
window.
case. Yeah. Definitely seems a bit odd. Maybe a last second call just didn't work out the way that Aqualix expected. And it costed them a very important round to make sure they were not being put into match point. Eddie now facing an Osa shield, just doesn't care. He shuts down Psychosis immediately and kicks off screen, kills Aether. This could be over before we know it, Harrison, as it's already a 5 versus 3, and Aqualix have made no ground to make up for this deficit.
Not only have they not really made any ground, we could find the first kill here, but they've only got 2 drones
He
left.
doesn't know.
For the remainder of this round. Penguin gets the kill on kicks, but Splash an instant refrag. Penguin just drops right into the arms of Eddie. Beastly, a 1 versus 4, playoffs on the line, and he can't do it. Eddie, 3 kills to shut down Aqualix. LG takes some much needed points to try and catch up with reality TV, but at the end of the day, the thing that matters most is that Aqualix will not be able to catch up to 4th place. Their playoff dreams are over.
And a really disheartening loss as well. Probably one of the teams you would expect them to face off and potentially do well against. I guess the counter-stratting once again just didn't work out for them, and Luminosity take the cake and once again strengthen their position overall to guarantee that playoff spot moving towards the end of stage 3. That really is unfortunate though for Aqualix. I mean, they did so well back in stage 2. I think at one point they were the best team in stage 2. And now they're just a husk of what they were. And it really does suck because you can see like you mentioned, the Penguin like elaborate strats. You can see for a brief moment the thought that goes into what they're trying to accomplish. But when that plan A doesn't work, it just seems like Aqualix never have a good backup plan for it. They really rely on that one thing to work out, especially in their game against the Favelas on Skyscraper. If their plan A does not work, that's it. That's the round. There is no chance to save it. And that's the worst thing about it.
And they can't save themselves into playoffs anymore. They needed 7 of the last 9 points. They didn't get any today. There are only 6 points remaining, and therefore, well, we all know how the math works out. But LG, a phenomenal victory. Aqualix, I mean, like you said, they didn't just do well in stage 2. They won stage 2. That was part of the reason why Gasher got picked up to TSM. But it seems like without Gasher, there is simply no replacement. They couldn't do a Keegan swap because, of course, their names are not spelled the same. But we're going to go back to the desk, discuss why LG have just been so damn good and how sad it is that we will not be joined by Aqualix in the postseason.
One thing I love about these kind of games, Tanner, is when you see players step up who either, I guess, haven't in the past or aren't always the guys expected to step up. And today, I thought 2 of the most impactful players, one on each side, was Rice and Penguin. I thought both of them had excellent games.
I mean, you always expect, the Silence to go in and drop 13 kills. I mean, that's just a Silence staple at this point. But for Rice to come in this game and have such an absolute dominant performance is something that we don't get to see very often from him. And I think it was a large reason why LG were able to get a 4-2 half on their attacking half. And then Penguin, like, he seemed to be like the main stick in the mud that LG kind of had to get over each and every round. Whether he was playing smoke and break or he was on that blitz on the attack half, he was really the player that was the driving force behind any of the momentum that Aqualix had and that LG had to overcome. So to see both of these players who maybe not had the most flashy, I would say flashy of performances this stage, it's really a nice trend to see that these guys can step up and when called upon.
Now, early on in this game, Connor, it was fairly even, but it just seemed as the game progressed, Aqualix kind of lost steam where Luminosity, I would say, not just kept up, but I'd say improved as the game went on.
Yeah, the biggest thing for Aqualix was the only map control they were taking was behind the shield of a blitz. And when that doesn't work, they really didn't have the necessary entry players to really step up. Your Psychosis and your Hat, they weren't on their traditional roles. This was Hat playing soft breach and Aether bringing Osa every round. It was kind of perplexing on their attacks, but they just didn't quite seem to work. And that was really well read by the defensive Luminosity. If your players like Eddie and your Silent just running around like a chicken with their head cut off because they know that nobody on Aqualix is going to challenge them properly. it just allowed them to get the momentum going, really heat up, and just start having heat check swing, pre-firing on E stairs and taking down the flank watch just over and over again. Plays like that were absolutely massive for Luminosity and a massive part of their success today.
And it's an absolute treat for the viewers when you get to watch guys just go out, have fun, and gun. But I'm about to have a bit of fun right now talking to Wafer. As usual, we're just used to it at this point. Wafer, another big win for you guys. And at this point, I think it's official. You guys have solidified that playoff spot, and you have that to look forward to.
Yes, sir. I mean, I just want to go to playoffs right now. We're just
Yeah.
missing 2 games, but I mean, I just like do those like transactions that you have to do. But like, I just want to go to playoffs right now.
Is
See the
there
finals, win seal, and everything.
any chance that you use those remaining games as like experimental games, or are you gonna just try to, play right and play it out?
Well, no. I mean, the goal on this stage was to just win everything.
Mhm.
But I mean, TTK humble us. So we actually start trying.
Mhm.
So I just want to go to playoffs to beat them. That's it.
What was your biggest focus going into this match? Was it Aqualix or was it border the map itself, or kind of a combination of the two?
It was just playing it and winning. However, it was not
Mhm.
like showing a stop. It's just like playing it for playing it, but winning.
Mhm.
That's the
And
same
it,
focus for tomorrow and for the next game.
it was nice to see Rice have the game that he had, because normally we usually see him as that guy that's sitting and waiting and usually like clutching out rounds, but he was at the forefront today.
Yeah, we actually go with him that on some attacks that we have. It is like protect the princess, right? So,
Mhm.
but I mean, Rice is a beast. He can shoot whenever he needs.
Mhm. Yeah, super exciting. Congratulations on that playoff spot. We can't wait. Well, a couple more games, but can't wait to see you in playoffs, Wafer.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
You too. Have a good one. Well, what is that? Two relatively quick matches down and out of the way on the day. We've got two left, including Aqualix on the brain. Aerial Arise and One Shot will be the next game coming up. But of course, we'll go to that quick break.